Hi, it's Chay. You're back with the Oz Arab Media team. Today, I'm joined by Amal Bousamra, former editor of Marounia Magazine and a very close friend of mine, responsible for pushing the first voice and platform for Lebanese people in Australia. Thank you so much, Amal, for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Chay, for having me. It's an honor to be with you.
Bit hard to pronounce, Marounia Magazine.
Yes.
Tell me a bit about the motivation, what started it and inspired you to get behind this publication.
Pure coincidence. Before that, I was the director of the Australian College of Journalism, and then I moved on to accounting in a practice. Then I was headhunted to work for the Maronite Church. Back in 2002, not very many people knew what Maronite is. They thought it was a different derivative, it's not a Christianity, and many other things. So when Bishop at the time, Bishop Adabikaram, the former bishop, came in, and he thought that he will establish a magazine to at least publicize and promote the Maronite identity and link people who are not connected to their community, who live in a remote area or don't have a Maronite community there. So hence Marounia Magazine, the establishment of it. I used to volunteer in one of the churches, and they've asked me if I could help out on a volunteer basis, and I said yes. And then at the time when the editor-in-chief resigned, who was also the financial administrator, I was offered both positions at the time, and I've accepted them.
About that motivation behind getting that identity and voice there for the Maronite Church.
Sure. What happened at the time, people didn't realize what Maronites are. And then the establishment of the magazine clearly identified it as Eastern Catholics that come from the region of Lebanon, the Antiochian Catholic Maronites. And the very first edition of Marounia sort of set the little path of identification of this faith. And when it was sent to the state library was very taken by it.
That's a huge accomplishment.
It is indeed, yes. And they really liked it because they've never heard the word Maronite. They have a lot of people going to the library asking if they've got any resources about this. And the second edition of Marounia was set there. And when we stop sending it, they will send us official letters from the state library. Can you please continue to send us this magazine?
Huge accomplishment. I know we talked about that gap, but now looking at getting that archived and published in the National Library, share with us that story.
Yes, it is. As I said, like a lot of times you do things and you don't think of the big and major impact of it. And this is one of them. It was sent to all the libraries. The state library had a need for it. And then later on, they had a demand. And then when you stop sending something, sometimes you know the importance of it. They missed it and they wanted it more. And then from that, we started putting a little bit more articles about our faith, about our traditions, about our celebrations, how food is related to our celebrations, and everything we do, whether it's in the church or at home, in the family or in the community.
Talk to me about these stories now. Any memorable stories that stand out for you over the course of that publication?
Yes, one of the biggest ones I was about in my first year as a editor-in-chief. I went to Lebanon and I interviewed the Patriarch of Antioch in all the East, which is the Maronite Patriarch. I visited Australia in 2008, leading to the World Youth Days that's established by the Catholic Church. I had a few major editions that sort of spoke about the faith, spoke about the celebrations, spoke about him. We spoke about his life and his achievements and what a great man he was.
The gap now, currently with digital and online, do you see any opportunities for the church to share more of these stories?
I do see a lot of opportunities. The See, as you know, I've been through two bishops. One of them was old fashioned and in a written mode, and he loved to explore online matters. And then the new bishop who loves online, and everything he does is on Facebook. I'd really like to see that a big publication would be made archiving all those stories that are on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and in other mediums to have them all into the one publication where you could find them in one stop.
It's kind of that blend between traditional publications or magazine style and obviously the online influencers and journalism with those stories coming out to play. If you could give advice for those, perhaps in our Maronite church today, looking to share more stories coming from your background in journalism, what would that advice be to ensure that these stories are truly reflective and balanced?
I'm hoping I'm not showing my age, but I'm a hybrid. I like the online, but I also like the archived papers. My office is always full of papers, and similarly, they are all on my computer. So if something happened to the papers, I could reproduce them. If something happened to the computer, I could rescan them. I've always been a big fan of hybrid.
The role of media, Amal. What value does the media platform have in Australia in terms of preserving culture and identity?
That's right. The media is a great tool of communication, not only to express yourself, it's to also send a message to the readers, the listeners, or the viewers. And it's also a good archiving tool for those who need to research it in the future.
You don't hear that very much. Your role as the editor for the Maronite magazine really helped preserve that faith and culture.
It did indeed, yes.
If we're looking at the Maronite Church now and other faith-based organisations in Australia, what would be your message for them?
I think to adapt a magazine, whether it's online or publicized, like written or printed, it's a great idea. You cannot go wrong. It's a great way of expressing yourself. It's sending your message to those who don't like online, maybe they like written, or who don't like written, maybe online. Having a combined message, it's a great tool of communicating with them. They will feel connected, and then you will feel connected to them too.
Thank you for sharing your story with us, Amal, and for joining us at the Oz Arab Media Studios. For our viewers, I'm going to leave you with Amal, who's going to share a very special Easter message ahead of the Easter celebrations this week.
This year, Easter is very special because it's celebrated by all Christianity. So I say, Happy Easter. Have a beautiful holiday with your families.
That's a wrap from everyone here at the Oz Arab Media Studio. We wish you a happy Easter. Stay connected, stay engaged, and until next time, I'm Chay. Take care.